When you come up against an obstacle, what do you do about it? We're going to talk about that in this video. Hi, I'm Kurt. When you scroll through social media, you see a bunch of picture-perfect lives, don't you? People that don't really match your own life, especially when obstacles come your way. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Everybody faces obstacles. Whether or not it's their choice and share it with people, that's up to them. But instead of dwelling on comparing your obstacles to other people's obstacles, it's actually more helpful to focus on yourself, gear your mindset to overcome the obstacle, and turn that into a success instead. I've done that. I was in the television and radio industry for 32 years and did everything behind the camera, everything I could do to stay behind the camera and not be in front of the camera. Then all of a sudden, people were telling me I needed to teach people how to be in front of the camera and how to overcome fears. So that's what I do now. It's very strange to me, but many obstacles feel daunting and impossible to beat. As a result, you become disillusioned and you give up on the attempt to overcome the obstacle altogether. Or like some people, you might get resentful of the others who seem to be able to overcome any obstacle and turn it into success with ease. Both of those things are useless. Giving up on it, being resentful about it, but by changing your mindset, you can become somebody who turns obstacles into successes. Now, don't get me wrong, it's going to take a whole lot of hard work, and it did for me. It's going to take determination, blood, sweat, and tears. Take it from me, you can overcome obstacles and transform them into successes. We're going to look at important points about why your perception of an obstacle matters and the level of control that you have over obstacles, and what are crucial things for setting a solid foundation for overcoming those obstacles. We'll talk about the two most important steps for actively overcoming obstacles: identifying them and setting goals for direct action to overcome them. Then we'll discuss the importance of focusing on yourself, emotional resilience, and continued practice. Practice makes perfect is the old adage, and it may be cliche, but it's especially with this, it's very, very true. You have to practice. You can't just be jumping on camera and be good at it right away. Lord knows I've tried and it didn't work. I need practice, and I need constant practice, and so do you. So hopefully I can give you a blueprint here on this channel of how to overcome obstacles so that you can turn any challenge, any fear that you have into a success. Now, everybody knows what an obstacle is, but most people have a kind of an unrealistic, warped idea about what it is. But you need to know the truth about obstacles. They're not all bad. That may sound a little radical, but it's true. Think about it. Fear was placed in us for a reason, for our survival, for safety. But often it can work against you, especially when you're trying to figure out how to overcome a fear in business. Fear of failure, fear of success. When you procrastinate because you're afraid to do something, you just don't want to step out and do it. But it's important to remember this: if you only focus on the negatives, which is what most people do, it's much easier to become distraught and overwhelmed and depressed and avoid the situation. But if you look at the negatives and the positives, you see the obstacle in a much more realistic light. That makes it possible for you to think rationally about it and more clearly about the task that you have to accomplish. From there, you can begin to overcome your obstacle instead of getting overwhelmed by it. And when you view the positives of an obstacle, you take away most of the negatives of the obstacle. That makes it much more easy and enjoyable to fight the obstacle, even if you aren't necessarily succeeding as quickly as you really would like to be. So while you shouldn't get caught up in the negatives, becoming aware of the negatives gives you more power over them. You take back the power of that negative. And as a result, you can begin to master the obstacle because the negatives are your own. When you acknowledge those obstacles, it makes them less scary. You have less fear about them. And it can challenge you physically, mentally, emotionally. Every time you find yourself in a new obstacle, you're forced to challenge yourself to grow as a person. And that's a good thing. So this process takes a lot of energy and can bring up a lot of negative emotions depending on your situation, what you're dealing with. And the required effort and emotional turmoil that comes with most obstacles, that's what makes obstacles so terrible. You don't want to do that extra work. So you grow to hate obstacles. But if you can focus on the positives, if you can embrace those positives and try your hardest to keep them in your mind, then those positives will begin to help you to overcome the obstacle, stay motivated, and actually enjoy the process of learning how to do this. You grow. You learn how to become a different kind of person, a person who is more confident, is more self-assured, more resilient. It doesn't matter how the obstacle makes you grow. What matters is that you grow and become a better person in the end of it. Another benefit of overcoming your obstacles is that you begin to know yourself better. We're so often trained by other people, our co-workers, our family, our friends, to be what we think we are. But it's not what we think we are, it's what they think we are. This allows us to get to know ourselves in a way that wouldn't have been possible without facing those obstacles. It allows us to grow our self-esteem, which is what helps us to know our value outside of our accomplishments and talents. It's necessary for a happy and functioning life. Now, one other benefit of going through obstacles is they can help your relationships. You may have noticed that when people go through a shared hardship, they become fast friends. They become more empathetic and able to communicate with other people, and those become some of your strongest and most trusted relationships. And I hope that's what we can accomplish here on this channel. I want to be your friend. I'm not going to be your guru. I'm not going to be somebody who fixes everything for you, but we have a shared hardship, fear. We don't like being on camera. We have a fear of failure, a fear of success. We procrastinate. We're just like each other. And there's some things that I've been able to overcome, and there's things that you've been able to overcome, and we'll just share those together. And I'm also glad that we've learned that obstacles aren't completely a bad thing. Even though they're a lot of work and can put a strain on your life, they force you to grow and help you to get to know yourself better and boost your self-esteem and improve your relationships. And I hope that you can remember that both positives and negatives will help you to overcome the obstacle because of your realistic and rational mindset about it. Hopefully that was helpful for you today, and next time we'll talk a little bit more about mindset and how your perception really matters. We'll see you next time.